it's Frankie-Lou. I'm coming to you from the Grow Together homestead out in our big garden here, where I am putting some of my winter sowing milk jugs out for the beginning of this wonderful process where I'm going to get some really great seedlings with no fuss, no muss compared to dealing with lights and hardening off. Now, if you haven't seen how milk jug planting works, please do watch our earlier video that we made. It's just called Milk Jug Planting. And we explained the whole process of preparing one of these fantastic little pods here. But this is for those people who are asking about where do I put them outside. And for those of us who live in southern Alberta, that's really important. And also the timing is really important because we deal with something really fun and special here called Chinooks. Now, if you've never heard of a Chinook, what it is, and that means you don't live in southern Alberta, because if you live in southern Alberta, you know what a Chinook is. But for those of you who don't, that is what happens when we have these massive temperature changes several times during the winter. Honestly, it's not unusual to see a 25-degree change in Celsius in temperature in less than a 24-hour period, because what happens is when clouds are approaching the west side of the Rocky Mountains here, they dump snow and they dump rain, causes a major shift in the pressure, and warm dry air gets swept down into the Bow Valley area here and right towards Calgary and Lethbridge, and we get these dramatic shift changes. I have woken up with days where it's been minus 20 at the start of the day when I wake up, and it's 10 degrees Celsius in that same afternoon by 3. So that might sound like a good thing to gardeners, but Chinooks are actually really detrimental to gardens, because what happens, particularly with your perennials and your trees, they go through this massive swinging back and forth of dormancy, waking up, dormancy, waking up. And it's damaging, and those of us who do a lot of growing of perennials know that it causes a lot more loss than when things just stay frozen, like in Saskatchewan or Winnipeg. So what does that have to do with winter sowing? Well, that's one of the reasons why I do not start putting my milk jugs out until now, okay? It's mid to late February is when I generally start putting out my hardy perennial jugs. If you live somewhere where there's a consistent deep freeze, you can start this process in January, because you're not going to have a sudden shift in temperature that's going to cause your seedlings to come up. As an example, if I had planted my seeds in milk jugs and placed them out in January, we had a glorious few weeks in January where it was consistently well above zero every day during the day. I would have had seedlings come up. Then on February 5th, we hit a huge deep freeze. It dropped to minus 30, and it stayed pretty close to that for 10 days. I have planted jugs earlier, and what happened when I first started this whole process, and what happened is all those poor little seedlings that woke up died. So by waiting until now, when it's near the end of February, I'm going to have less of those dramatic shifts, okay? That being said, I still want to protect my milk jugs for dramatic shifts in temperature. So I'm going to show you the difference, what my placement is. You might think in your head, oh, I need to shelter these from the elements. It's exactly the opposite. What you want to do is you want to place your jugs somewhere where they're sheltered from wind and dogs and cats and animals that might move it around, but you want them to be exposed to sunlight, and you want them to be exposed to precipitation of various types, because you want to keep these moist. So you might think, okay, I'm going to place them underneath this eave. No, you don't want to do that. You want to place them right out, and I'm actually going to dig these down into the snow a little bit. The snow will help to insulate if there are any of those dramatic temperature shifts that are going to happen. According to the meteorologists, no, not for the next few weeks, but hey, it's Calgary. We don't know. All right, it's southern Alberta. It could happen still. But at this point, I'm pretty safe in that I'm not going to have a huge shift either way, okay? hopefully. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my placement, how I've got a nice raised bed here. I don't know if you can see it, but I'll show you in a minute. And it's got about a foot of snow in it, and I'm going to nestle these all down in there. Now to start out, this first week, I'm only putting out hardy perennials, okay? And then as I go through the weeks, I'm going to add increasingly more and more tender things until by the time April comes around, I'm literally planting tomatoes in these things, okay? I have a little cheat for that, which I'll show you when we get to that point in the season. But for now, today I'm planting hollyhocks and poppies and chives and stuff like that. Stuff that is gonna grow anyways in this zone 3 that I have here. This is just a way that I have to fuss less, I have no lights, and I'm gonna get much hardier seedlings with no hardening off, okay? So give me a minute and I'll show you how I place them in the snow, just so you understand why it's how they should look. You want them to be exposed to that snow and exposed to the sun, but not exposed to wind if you can avoid it. I'll show you in a sec. All right, as you can see here, I've got my jugs all nicely nestled into their snowbank, and they're going to stay there. And in a couple of months, I'm going to see some beautiful little perennial seedlings that I can put into these nice beds. I get to expand my garden every year because of this method, and I've got 30 raised beds now. So that's I wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't for this method, because I can't fuss with that much stuff, particularly when it comes to shelving with lighting, and also the whole process of hardening off. Another thing to keep note too is one of the reasons I love these milk jugs is they're so easy to maneuver around compared to a traditional tray. You just pick them up by the handle, move it around. And yes, that's how they're going to sit there. And if we do get a sudden temperature change and it's not gradual, the fact that they're all nestled in the snow there will help. All right, so I hope that was helpful. I hope you'll give it a try. Honestly, I want, and Angus, we both want everybody to try this because it's been a game changer for us over the years. And the more people who can be planting their own food easily, the better. That's the way I believe it should be anyways. So if you want to give it a try, you might want to check out the milk jug planting one, which we posted about 10 months ago. We got lots going on at the homestead today. I got to clean the coop out, let the chickens back outside, because we have had this nice shift to reasonable weather again. Angus is working on some really cool experiments. He's got his worm farm started, so we'll give you an update on that soon. And I hope you guys take this chance to grow together today. Have a good one.